Hello everyone! Happy Sunday! This is my second video. Should be posted shortly after I post my weekly update video. I figured I would make an appearance because I haven't made an appearance for a while and that's not acceptable. It's supposed to be a VTube channel after all, and I should make my VTuber self known. So today there's just going to be a couple of rantings, and when I say rantings, I'm going to be talking about my goals and things I could change. And I got maybe there's a little bit of advice I want to give to you younger kids out there because life gets difficult, but nothing to be scared of, just difficult. So if you did watch my last video to the end, I do appreciate it. I know it can be kind of tedious listening to me ramble on about the same stuff every video, but I do appreciate it. It's very important to me to get this stuff done, and I know it's been starting off very slow since I've rechanged the channel and everything like that, but I'm literally starting off from square one. Even if I have any kind of experience, and square one isn't always the prettiest. It's not glamorous. It's not like these influencers on TikTok, and it's not like these established YouTubers. It's glorified and everything. I am very much starting off, and I know that I do need to be working on more on how to expand and make my channel more interesting. I do need to start from the bottom. And in order for me to accomplish the things I need to accomplish, I need to know what I'm doing. And so to me, I have to get all this done. And I know this isn't a large portion of people's interest, but one of the things that I always like is the sketch phase of things, the outtakes of movies, the behind the scenes stuff, the nitty gritty stuff that most people don't care about. And this is kind of what I'm posting all this up here for, because it is the background stuff. This is the real life, real work that has to go into becoming what we see on TV. Is like you see it and it's done. And you're like, wow, that's amazing. But this is the real life work that goes behind it. And it starts off, it's not pretty when it starts off. It's not fun. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice. And it has been very, very tough to get back into doing all this. So again, I don't know if I already said this or not, but I apologize if it's not up to you guys' expectations. But I will continue this path because I know that it is important. And even though I do really much appreciate all the support I have been getting, all the feedback that I've been getting, anybody who leaves a comment that has recommendations, I do appreciate it. I have been listening to that right now, and even though my goal, I would still like to get 50 subscribers by the end of the year, and it's not, to me, the biggest part of what's important right now, because I'm still trying to get established, and I don't want to have a lot of people on here and consistently disappoint them. So just making that clear right now, is it still going to be the hard nitty gritty work of everything. But that being said, I have felt there is a lot of progress going into it. And as long as I can stay vigilant with marking down the things that I think of in the moment, that, oh, I could do this better or I could do that better, I do believe that we could continue on an upward, though slowly, upward path to succeeding with my two primary goals of learning how to speak Japanese fluently and becoming a manga artist. Now, I did do a comic before. I love it. It's jank as all hell, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty rough, and that was the stepping stone to the realization of how far I need to go and how much work I need to put into this. It was rough, and I had accomplished it. Now, that was important to me. It was very important to me to get that done, and mm, it's not. I'm not done with that series. Let's just say that. But I did it. I put it out there because it was the start of where I am now, and it goes to show how much I've let myself go, how much of my art I've left behind, how much. But it also shows how much I still really want to do it. So, with that being said, again, I apologize for anything that might seem dull or boring, but I have to keep this up, and eventually I'll find something that works. But it's hard to plan things if I don't know how to plan them, and that's kind of one of my issues I have. And then in my last video, I started writing down my goals, and I figured it would be better just to talk about them as me, so you can kind of see me moving around. Yay! I do like my character. The more I look at her, the more I do like her. Is not a like an official kind of looking VTuber. I like it because it's closer to my style. I do, hopefully by next year I will be working on a front one, a forward facing one with everything I've learned. I will, you know, learn to use V2 better, all that kind of stuff, especially when I have more time. But enough of that. Let's get to the goals because I'm going to start getting way ahead of myself. And some of the things I've encountered throughout these first 8 weeks. So, first 8 weeks have been rough for sure. First 8 weeks. I should probably open up. I should probably open up Word, but I don't have Word, so we're going to use WordPad. Okay, so first 8 weeks have been very rough. Let's move this here so you can see me typing it. 8 weeks. First 8 weeks. Keeping schedule. Keeping schedule is not easy. I need to translate all these basic ass sentences into Japanese. I might do that. Is easily easily distracted by video games and sleeping. Those are the two biggest hurdles yet. Okay, so throughout this experience, these are the biggest issues I have. Okay, I can't keep a schedule very easily. I am distracted by these video games. I can't spell video. Video games. And I do come home and sleep because my bed is so cozy. And now we're changing into the fall. There's nothing nicer than coming home after a hard days of work and then curling up into a big fluffy feather blanket. This is a thing. That's like my thing. I can't just not go without it. Okay, so that's gonna be rough. Video games, they're flexible because when there's not an event going on in Monster Hunter or Ark, then I can kind of walk away from it. But there are events going on right now, and it's very hard to walk away from them because you want to get all this stuff in the events before time goes out. So it's been very difficult to keep past those. When I have downtime, they're fine. So I really need to schedule my video game time separately. And then of course I need to not go to sleep when I get off work. That's like anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours of me just crashing. And I could be doing for my studying. So it's been very difficult for that. So I'm not going to cut out my sleeping in video games, but I'm going to schedule them better. So because I noticed that a part of me doing this a lot, it's not just, I'm not just changing my schedule for my schooling. We got to make that quite clear. The scheduling for, let me move this over a little bit and so I can get in the screen as well. Anyways, so those are the biggest things. And anyways, so come back to what I was saying. I've been sorting things out. I'm not as much as a little piggy at my desk anymore. You know, I don't leave trash lying around like I used to. So the little things are adding up, and it's getting less and less. So you gotta do. I can't just do things cold turkey all the time. You know, I gotta, that. So I'm going to maybe only sleep, only nap. How about no more than 1 hour nap? And so I know it's a long nap, but I gotta give myself some room. I'm gonna end up trying to cut it to 30 minutes to nothing. I can do 30-minute naps, but they're not as nice. So that's what we're gonna do. No more than an hour nap, and then make sure that I don't play video games. Okay, start games after dinner by 7 p.m. So I always start video games after my nap. It'll be about 5 o'clock. I'll play, I'll have snacks, and then do that. But if I make dinner, it'll get me make dinner early, have my dinner, and then be done. But that way, it gives me some time in between to do my homework. Do homework. I've never been disciplined to do my homework, even when I did go to school. I just could not be disciplined enough to bother to do it. So yeah, I don't know what that says about anything but that. Those are obviously the issues I have. But going through it while I was doing my homework, like when I was talking in my last video, when I sat down for the hour and 45 minutes to do my art homework, I was able to do it for an hour. That last 45 minutes just kind of became a slog, and it was not interesting. It's not fun. I was like, well, why is it that when I was doing my homework, like, no, my art before, I could sit down for hours and do it? No big deal. It's because I was doing obviously what I wanted to do. But also, something that helped was feedback from people, some sort of excitement to post it somewhere or talk to somebody about it. And I've noticed that over the years, I just don't have those peers anymore. I did have a friend I would talk to, and I recently cut ties off with them. And for me, there were things from both sides that I just no longer felt like it was going to be. I feel like it was better for both of us if we just stopped. Okay, so that's what happened. So the last person who I could talk about creative things with, I'm no longer talking with them. I'm taking a break. My health issues was kind of one of the problems I had, and so I'm working on that. So especially when it comes to art, and then you do need this too. I feel like when you're with with learning a language, because you need those people to communicate with, but also when it comes to art, you need that one person that you could really click with and just throw ideas back and forth and work with it. And I don't have that right now. I don't have someone who we can just do that, same wavelength, same concept, all that kind of stuff. Somebody who we can talk about our art and share these ideas with. And it's difficult to not have a peer. Let's just say that we don't have peers. And when you're in a class or something like that, you have your teacher who can give you guidance, which is my next issue I have. And then you have your peers that you can talk about things with. I think that sitting down for an hour and 45 minutes and just drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing, obviously it does help you gain your skills, but I don't think it's good for you mentally. At least it's not for me. I need to stop every now and again and talk about things. And if I have an issue, hey, can you figure this out? How do you do this? What does yours look like? And I think that's important for developing art skills, at least for me. It can be done without it. You can. But it definitely makes it a little more entertaining, a little more fun. And gives you something to look forward to. Give you something to look forward to show your friend, hey, I did this, what about that? And then the back and forth. And they'll show you something and you could be like, oh, I like that, and all things. So having peers in a classroom environment, especially for art, is really good. So for the next semester, I might change the time of art to maybe 45 minutes 4 days a week, as opposed to an hour and 45 minutes 2 days a week, because it's rough. And until I can get into the hour and 45-minute range, the time for 2 days a week, it's just rough. So try out 45 mins for 4 days a week for art study. And of course, if I do get into the zone of, especially when it comes to perspectives, I think I'm going to need a little more than 45 minutes to do some perspective studies. So once you get into that zone, I think that it's okay to go over the time, but at least do a bare minimum of that instead of 1 hour 45 mins twice a week. And of course, that's just the bare minimum. I should still be doing daily practice. Can't spell practice. Should still be doing daily practice. Head and gestures from ref. Perspective from ref. Random sketching / doodles. So these should be all along my daily things. So we're going to try next semester. We're going to do that. We're going to do next semester. And then we're going to for next. So if we're at, this will be 16 weeks. And this is going to be week 9. So we've got 7. Yeah, 7. 7-6 weeks, because next week is going to be, as I mentioned in my last video, a busy week, so I might not even get anything done. So for the next 7-6 weeks, I have to plan out to complete Genki workbook and textbook chapter 1. So plan to complete that. If complete, then review all of chapter 1. Should still be doing daily alphabet app. Yeah. That's what I'm going to be planning out for my Genki workbook. Once I've planned those out, it's not difficult to fill out the time for the Japanese stuff because there's so many things we can do. Include once a week listening practice, including writing words you understand. So I need to do that once a week at least, and I didn't do that this week, and like I said, next week won't happen, but this is going to be this. So that's going to be for next 7-8 weeks for Japanese, and then for art. And now the art side is the biggest issue I have. I know I've been talking for 20 minutes related, so already a lot longer than I expected it to be. This is the issue I'm having. Guidance is a huge issue, and I think that's obviously why you go to college, because the teachers are there to guide you through those processes and give you the goals and ideas of what you do. I'm going to be honest, the college I went to, when I went to my art class, I didn't feel like I even had much guidance. It was just do this assignment and go. There was never any reason as to why we were doing them. There was never any goals, never anything past your future to look at. It was a very weird thing, and I don't know if that's all art colleges or it's just this one. I don't know what was going on, but when I look back at it, it didn't seem like there was much look for anybody's future in there. And maybe I was homeschooled, so I'm wondering if maybe the guidance counselors, which I didn't know was a thing until I was like 30, which I'm not going to say anything else because I just gave you too much information there. I didn't know that guidance counselors were a thing, though. We didn't have a guidance counselor, and so once I got into college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was flopping through. I know I wanted to do art. I went to college for art, but then I dropped from the program for a while, came back to it, dropped out of it, went to animation, which was fun, but it was during the first time of the animation program, so it was also very lackluster and it was very disappointing, to say in the least. The concepts were there, but because it was the first semester, I don't think they really knew what they were doing, and so I was very disappointed. Though I did like the professor there, because the professor did kind of look into future careers and stuff. Like, he did talk to me about, working for Disney and that kind of stuff. Not saying I was good enough to, but that's a goal. If you want to do this, and you can move on forward this way, but there was still only a part of the puzzle that unfortunately I wasn't smart enough to really take action. I don't know what I did, what I needed to do. So that was rough. I didn't do the whole program. I don't think, 'cause it didn't last very long. I think I did the basic class, but there wasn't much to it. So that was the closest thing to guidance I had. Then I took theater, and then I did have some guidance on going to the next school, which was the closest thing I had to going to where to next, where to here. Well, go to this university, and this is how you put this thing together to get in there. But then, of course, the professor fell short there too. I don't know why. It just didn't seem like the professors, they were busy. I'm not going to blame the professors. I don't want to sound like I'm blaming them, because I know that they were busy, but it just seemed like once you were done, it was like, next. You're done. Why are you coming back here next? You should have already figured this out. But I was like, I don't, maybe I'm stupid. It's very, very possible that I'm just stupid. So I started giving up on myself around that time. So I didn't think that I had any goals because I didn't know what goals they were there. ChatGPT has given me more guidance and goals on the possibilities of what you could do, even if it's not attainable. Okay? And maybe the professors saw something in my stuff and thought, well, this bitch is dumb, she ain't getting anywhere. So maybe that's why I was just giving up on. Because it feels like that. It very feels like that. I was given up on through society. I just feel like I was given up on by a lot of people around me. So it's been, I didn't even know, like I said, when I was reading ChatGPT, how half these things could be a thing. You know, the applying for this manga thing, study for that. I don't expect to apply for any kind of manga. What was it that ChatGPT said? ChatGPT, they said about submitting your work to a manga something contest or whatever. I didn't even know those existed, and I don't ever expect to enter a contest expecting to win. But the fact that they even exist was mind blowing to me. The options are there. And so the guidance has been pretty lackluster throughout my life. So I think the what it comes down to is the biggest thing is I never felt of any value when I was growing up, and that stuck with me as an adult now. Right up until recently, I have only just now starting to learn the value of myself, and I want to bring that value up, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to, and I got to remember that. So the guidance part is something that I have to find out on my own because nobody can do that for me. Nobody I could ever rely on could do that for me. And that's kind of where I've been too. I kind of stuck because I've been stuck in my youth waiting for somebody to guide me, if that makes sense. So I think that is a huge part of why I gave up myself. Because if nobody was going to put any effort into me, why should I? But that's not true at all. I need to put my effort into myself. And one of the reasons why I think why I'm doing stuff now is because at my job I'll have people come in and they're about my age, maybe they're a little older than me, and they come in and they're trying to change their life, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this because I've it's been so long since I have, and I don't know." And I'm always like, "Of course you can. This is the first step to doing it. You're here trying to change your life. Of course you can do it." And I believe that. But if I can believe that applies to someone else, why can't I believe that applies to me? So I'm trying to put that to the test. I do believe it. It's just going to take a lot of work, which it is. So it's rough. And I'm trying to find some more art peers. And it's difficult also because everybody has different things that I like about art. And we got to work on that. You know what I mean? So finding art peers. Let's see if I can do that. I did go on Reddit and I did find someone, but of course also it's a two-sided thing, and I have not been very communicating very well with these people, with this person. So I'm gonna hit up on them. But we made it both clear that we're both not very talkative people. So I kind of don't mind that. Check in on your art peer over now and again, kind of see how much work they've put out, and kind of talk about their artwork and kind of go from there. I'm okay with that kind of friendship as long as it's true. And that's all I care. I don't care if you don't talk to me but once a year. As long as our interactions are genuine and inspiring, you know, that's what it takes. So for art, when it comes to stuff, I wrote this down in my last page, but a couple things is be open to peer review / peers in general. I can't find peers online without posting my stuff, so I'm gonna have to get a social media thing. This is gonna be probably later on down the road. This is gonna be the only bit of place I'll post my stuff, my progress here for now. So we'll do that. Post your art more often. Actually, these are actually for next year's stuff, so I want to cut those out. Let's actually focus on this year's, what we're doing here. So what we're going to do for this year is continue working on dailies. D-A-L-I-D-A D-A-L daily. How do you spell daily? D-A-I-L-Y. D-A-L-I-E. Is that right? That's not how you spell it. That's delis. Oh my god, you know how to spell dailies? Am I spelling that wrong? Work on Okay, let's do this. Continue work on daily assignments minimum. Learn to spell dailies. DAILIES. Learn to spell dailies. Um, what I mean by daily assignments, that means including. We'll just copy these. Should be still doing daily practice. Head gestures, copy that there. Head gestures, etc. That's what we're just going to focus on for now, because my lack of guidance in this thing and what's going on with the semester. Plus, I had a rough start. I missed the first week. I know that ChatGPT did give me goals I should be working on, like creating characters and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to move that over to my official for next semester. That's going to be my main focus for next semester. Once I've done the basics, work on focusing on characters and stuff like that. So for now, we're going to do that. I'm going to do this next semester. Japanese. Next semester, art. This is a long video. This is me rambling. You don't have to listen to it all if you want to, but these are some guidelines I'm trying to figure out. Got to put out in words, and I feel like speaking out loud helps me too. So try out 45 minutes 4 days a week for our study. Should still be doing it. Open to peer review. Post your art more often. / maybe do live streams. Doodles. Both trad and digital. See what goes from there. Try to make more an effort to do that on slow times. So we'll do that. I don't know how often I'll be doing those, but let's get this thing started first. For art, I need to be better goal management, management, better time management. And I think I already wrote this up there, is start games after dinner by 7 o'clock. Make sure homework is better time management. And this is going to include video games, and naps. Better goal management. I might have to reference ChatGPT for some ChatGPT for goal management suggestion. I can just have it make me a schedule, but I did that once, and I did it schedule, but it was I could only keep it up for like 2 weeks. That's all I planned for that one. Video games and naps. I also need to mention, I feel like I got to mention this, I'm not just doing scheduling. I know I said that before, but I'm also incorporating exercising in my plan as well. So, and it's not extreme exercising by no means. It's a little bit of yoga before I go to bed, and trying to get in some daily walks, and got my running twice a week that I do for 22 minutes. So, yeah. But I do need to increase that, and I need to be more. I've been doing it though. I've been doing my running, so that's good. Let me see. I know I said I was going to give some advice to some young people. If you're still listening to this, thank you. I know my voice is quite grating, and I'm trying to work on that too. But it's not going to be anything that's going to change overnight, unfortunately, and it may never change, unfortunately. But one thing I do want to mention is take advantage of the time you have now to work on what you want. And it really sucks, because when you're at a young age, you think you know what you want to do, and then by the time you get to a certain age, that idea might change. So it does kind of suck to waste your time working on something and then not doing it later on. But if you do, those skills might come up in the future. And you might not, if you never become an artist, say that. But there's no telling that those skills might not come up and help you with something later on. The creative part of it does help with other parts of your job. So as long as I know you have to go to school and everything, but as long as you don't have to go to work and worry about too much things like debt and bills, use that free time to enjoy your life, obviously, but especially in the art field, you have to find your time to properly learn techniques. And I can't really tell you how to live your life. I can just give you suggestions, and I really suggest that if you want to become a manga artist or a comic artist, just jump straight in, and then I would just recommend write your first mini comic. Don't focus on your big story right away. Everybody has a big story that's their passion project that they want to work on. Don't work on that one outside of writing until you've tried to make a small comic. Pick a small comic, one that's lighthearted, one that's easy, one that you can get done fairly quickly that you'll stay interested in. Do your first one. Make it, I think I made mine like 44 pages. I think that was a bit too much for a comic. But make your first issue 11 to 22 pages. Don't do too much. If you want to do 44, the better. But stick to maybe a small amount. Write that down. Then go and there's a website I printed mine at called Kablam, and it was a very reasonable price to print one comic. Go all the way. Follow the guidelines on that website. Make your comic. Do it the way you would. Get it printed out, and then look at it and look at all the mistakes you've made, because that's the foundation. That's where you are now. And you ask yourself if that's what you like, if that's what you want to do. And you don't ever have to post it. You can if you want, but just as far as I would recommend, just get that first one printed and look at it, what your art looks like in print, what it looks like official. I am proud of the way of what I've done with it, and it really does give me a perspective on where I've got. You can see where I got lazy in the comic, and you can see where I put the work into it. You can also see where I need to do work, and that's why I would recommend for all you people, the young people out there trying to start one. Start off with a comic that's, like I said, lighthearted and easy to write, something quick it's not going to change any important stories, and then work from there. In the meantime, if you have a big story, start writing your big story, but don't necessarily comic it out yet, because things are going to change as you get older when you work on that. So that's my advice when it comes to making comics, and I think that's been pretty useful advice. I should have written that down. I'll have that in my little tips icon for me doing this. I might actually do that. I might do like a tip section on my, what do you call it, like a proto semester for those who want to start doing this. But yeah, other than that, I guess pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Sorry, I kind of went on a bit of my guidance rant and stuff like that. It's very important to have that. I don't know who needs to hear that, but keep going. It's is not over until it's over. So you have time to do stuff. You have time to change things around. Time to work on things you want to do. And I recommend keep doing it. I'm going to. Like I said, this is a tedious topic. It's a tedious thing that's going on. I know it's a lot of work. I know that it's boring for probably a lot of you to listen to me go on or just show up with a 15-minute video. It seems like it might be lazy from your perspective as a YouTuber, and by all means it is. I mean, I don't have fancy editing software. I don't know how to use that. I'm literally editing my stuff in Movie Maker. That's all I have. That's all I know right now. But it doesn't mean that's going to be the end all. And so for anybody who is sticking around, I really appreciate it, and I hope that there's going to be a difference in my content as time goes on. I hope we can get better at doing this stuff. And I thank everybody who's sticking around. I thank everybody for the support and the positivity, the likes, the comments, all that stuff. It's like I said, I'll comment. I'll reply to anybody's comments if I don't think you're a bot. But just keep it up. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. I know where my problems are. And that's another thing, is admitting and understanding where your flaws are. And my flaws right now is laziness. It's procrastination and laziness. And I'm going to write that down. Easily distracted. Let's just do this. First weeks have been very rushed. Keeping schedule is not easy. Biggest hurdles yet. But the biggest of all is that you're just a lazy procrastinator. So, I was also thinking something, and this is it might seem dark for those of you who have different views from me, but my issue is when it comes to what happens when we move on from this world, some people think we come back. I don't want to come back. So I'm going to give myself a personal goal that says, if you do not complete goals, then you will have to come back. And I'm going to tell myself that every day. If I do not complete my goals, I will have to come back. So, and I don't want to come back. So I have to complete my goals. And that's a big thing that I don't want. I'm hesitant to tell myself that, because if I tell myself that that is the truth, then I will complete my goals and it will get done. But that also means I have to sacrifice a lot more than I was willing to sacrifice this semester. And that is huge. So I'm going to make sure I put that on like a something that I can see every day. Not trying to get dark or anything, but ugh, yeah. So anyways, I think I've been ranting on enough. This video's gone on for a long time. I doubt anybody's going to listen to me go on for 40 minutes. Didn't seem like that long, but it is what it is. If I think of anything else, I'll obviously include it in another video. I think that this is a good mid-semester review of what I've done. I'm sure I'll think of things once I've closed the video down, but that's how it works. So yeah, this is, I guess I'll count this as my midterm, a midterm review for myself. Also, midterm review grade, midterm review grade is a C minus. So that's what I got. I'm not doing so well this semester. So anyways, again, thanks for anyone who stuck around. I will see you in the next video. I don't know if I'll post anything next weekend because I said before, my job's going through a busy schedule. I'll try to get stuff done. And in the meantime, have a good week. And I will see you when I see you next time. I will post again, obviously, before the month is over. So don't think I'm just abandoning like I have before. But for now, we'll see. Have a good weekend. I hope you have a good rest of the week. And I will see you next time.